Welcome again to my educational channel of the Sound Inform methods with which to understand words or words with a capital. This is some extra help when people would like to read this book, Sound Inform Methodical Synesthesia, a book that was recently published on Trafford. If you would see this book in a shop and you would say, oh, why does this look so complicated? Why did it use 10 methods or something like that, and why all these different results? There's no consistency in it. Can't it be a little bit more directed into just one solution, one exact signification for each letter? Can't it be a little bit more simple? Just like 1 is 1, like A is X and so on. Something which you say, this is it and this is not. Why can't it be like that? It can't. Otherwise this method would have been found already much more easily. I know a lot of people who tried to find signification for each letter, and they found out that there's no consistency in it. Sometimes it's this and sometimes it's that. It's because these letters combine, and there's a way how to combine it, and what it means and which comes out of it, what is important, always changes because of the letters before and afterwards, and it is that particular part is complicated. But in a way it's also very simple once you know where to look at and what to deal with. Compared to letters, to numbers, the letters are like everything. There is a clarity which is looked for, but it's not immediately exact. The things are not always exact. Numbers seems to be much more easy. It's like either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8 or 9. It just seems that working with numbers is easy because of the idea that it's either true or it's not true. It's either 0 or it's 1. So if you have the numbers, you will notice, if you work with numbers, I also used numbers in my book, the numerology. I used also the Pythagorean order of the letters to find out which order the letters tend to follow and how they are presented. They mostly follow the rules of the letters. It is true of the numbers. So it is true that there is a connection, but it is a bit more complicated than that, and even numbers are not following an order that all these numbers are equal. It's a misconception which already was found in mathematics that it is not true that all letters are equal. It's because the human nature, or the nature of thinking, the nature of combining, of finding solutions or of connecting, is not based upon equality. It is based upon an order of finding what fits best, what is most clear. And what I mean is, like, if you see these numbers 1 to 9, our mind already will try to find out the most simple solution to get an overlook. So instead of 1 to 9, we will immediately try to find out the middle, the beginning, the end. We'll always try to find the 3 outer limits. And this triangle, the three regions, it will always be the most consistent thing that you can find. The trilogy, which you can find in religion, has more meanings than you could imagine. It's always these 3 regions, the 3 which is returning the whole time. Even in 9, if you have the notes, it will be do, re, mi, fa, sol. It's the middle. here in this 9 region, it will try to look for the middle. If you have the 7 as the center here, okay, it's this is the first beginning, the 1, the 2 will be then the 5, and the 3 will be the 9. So again, these 3 regions. So even if you only have 2 centers that you want to focus upon, it's always 3, 3, 3, and again 3. In our reality, how we conceive reality, these 3 regions or 3 regions of 3 will be very practical. How to make an order with the numerology with letters. So you have here the 3 dimensions first. You can see the first circle there, 3 dimensions and 3 regions. The 3 regions are there. These are the 3. This is the stable region of space. If something changes or is about to change, this is no longer the region of space, but the region of the higher dimensions. I already told you it's not, they tell us that it's not always time, but it is always connected with time, because something changes and it goes into a different direction. So you have the stable region, the space, then the time, and then it comes back to a changed position. If you would look at all like this, as if there are 9 dimensions, it is really incomprehensible. On the other way, when we use time and they say, okay, that we need an evolution and it changes over time, we can make really complicated ideas possible, and we understand them. So we are using not just 3 dimensions, but 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which are described in my book in a much more simple way. In a simplistic way, perhaps, but it is also simplified way, because nature always finds a way that you can point to the right direction, even if you don't fully understand it. Once you are connected to it, or connected to the right ideas and the right position, you will understand, and you could make this connection. So it's very important that you are dealing that there is a method to go towards something which is true and which is not, which I'll come to later. If you would like to explain all the dimensions at once, you have these 2 circles on the end. It's incomprehensible. It's chaos. But if you have these movements, if you take these movements apart, like the horizontal, vertical, and diagonal changes, and then look for the intersections and see where it connects, it's actually no longer so complicated as it seems at first. And I will also change our misconception that we have today. We all have the tendency to think that it's either true or it is not true. It's either 1 or it's 0. This is a little bit limiting our thoughts, because I will tell you why we should understand why we think this way and how we can think differently as well. Because it's true or untrue is always connected to a reason why we do this. There is a structure underneath, a usefulness. So the usefulness says something is true and it's not true. So who is deciding nowadays what is true or what is not true? It is the media, it's the politics, there's a whole kind of mafia even who is trying to make us believe what is true or what is not true, and all the rest is false news, is untrue. And in the end, we don't know anymore what is true, because it's so complicated. We can't see the truth anymore. In this way, we can't find it anymore, because we can't find usefulness anymore. In the end, you have one direction of a society who decides for you what is true or what is not true. It's not even science anymore, it's just a decision. And on the other hand, you have an opinion. So the opinion will try to compensate for this, and he will also say like, no, I have an opinion, so I have a right to say something. So this must be true. This can be true as well. It's my right that this can be true. Both of these thinkings are very limited because we no longer are directing towards arguments. We no longer direct towards a reason why we think like this. Is there a usefulness in what we think? Is there a usefulness that we think that there are aliens or there are conspiracies, or if there's no usefulness, if there's no structure in which we can use something, just forget it. It's useless or even idiotic, or it's a tyranny. In sounds or vowels and consonants, there is a different way of thinking, and we can use this in going towards the truth. And in all the letters, there are 3 phases instead of 2. There's one phase, which is the first phase. It's a devolution towards the idea like, yeah, I think I can use this. Maybe I can use this. I can recognize this. This is the first phase. It goes in the direction of a temporal one, so an object or an idea that you might use, and you're using it already because you saw it already a couple of times. So once it's no longer useful, okay, it evolves to a phase where you say, I have to change something. Both these 3 phases are based also on a useful structure or frame, or even this is useless. Now, what is my vision of truth? And it is different from what we are used to. And this is also what my first book is about. The Fool's Tarot is using the structure of the tarot to figure out like how are we able to think and know what is true, what is not true. As long as we know this X, which is the temporal truth, if this is honestly within the frame of usefulness, and we are honest that we say like, okay, this part I know, this is something I'm evolving to a truth, this is already no longer a truth. When we really have a good balance in knowing what you know, knowing what you don't know, evolving to something, we can be people who are not very clever, we can be people who are a little bit idiotic, we are lying a little bit, but at least we are looking for the truth, and we are somewhere in between, and we know where we are. When we're really able to focus on where we are, this one, which is in the end the formula of balance between our truth and a usefulness of this truth, this idea is useful. So even if you have a half idea, you have also half way. You always understand it just partly, archly. If you say that you really do, it's useful. It's useful. You can use it. Now, what is important for understanding the vowels and consonants? These 3 phases. The first phase is information. The second phase is a real distinction. The last one is finding a difference. So it's less than one, or more than one. And these are actually also the 3 first letters. A, this is looking for the truth. T is making a distinction. K is finding a difference. And an additional idea which is very practical, so if you always have the same things that fit together, you remain on the horizontal plane. If you really add things that are the same, you go into the vertical plane, and if you find things that are different, you go into the diagonal plane. These 3, just these basics of idea, and you can already work with almost all the letters. This is the basis of my foundation of the whole structure of most of the theories, even if there are a lot of theories in my book. And I will give one example of where it goes further. So of the next dimensions, 4, 5 and 6, they are directing to somewhere else. These three letters are like you have one place and it goes to another place. It's a center and it goes to a different center. This center isn't reached just immediately, just by going there, but you know there's a direction, the D of the direction, and you will reach it sooner or later. That's a D in 4 dimensions. The N is in the region of the volume or of the material, so here also you will sooner or later you will find the correct material. And the Y, the last letter, it is sooner or later you will find a new place where you can be. I will give one example which is not in my book, and I will show you that letters in the end I will follow this theory which I just explained, and in the end I will come, in the simplicity as it all is, come to just one conception of the idea what every word is about. So the letters have a meaning, and the combination of letters also create a new meaning, and it's just one meaning. So different words which have the same meaning will mean a little bit something different. It can be related, but all the words which are different are something different. I will use the example of the Dutch word pop and the English word doll. They are the same things. The pop, up, and the doll. And I will show you how I intuitively, but it is following the theory, make the structure visible, what is happening in the letters. The D is like this. It is finding center somewhere else, and it will and it is looking for it somewhere else. There it will find some centers, because the O is always looking for some centers. With the L, some directions of where it will go. With the double L, it will increase the region. So instead of just going into a direction and making a longer length, it will also include the volume, so the two-dimensional area of that part. So the doll, in fact, is the center moves, and there it is movable. There are movable parts which have a certain volume. I go to the next one, the pop. The P is also a certain region which is disconnected. Within this region I will find a whole area where I will focus upon. And I'll repeat this with, again, popping out, in this case, the region. So it again will disconnect the region and will have form something like this. So you will see pop and doll are quite different. If I look at this now, the pop will fit very well with a doll, which are very much round forms, and the doll will fit very well with forms which are more loose. So in some way you say it is very different. But if you multiply what is happening, the pop will create a form like this, and the doll, in fact, a little bit a region like this. So it will increase actually kind of half movable parts, if you would say. Of course, we also have the word puppet. So instead of the po with an O, the circle, I will use the U, or the U form. So I will make it easy. I will just use from the puppet. The pup will be like this. The puppet, the will go to the right. It always has this region and this form. So puppet in the end looks more like this. The T in the middle is finding a functional region, and it has in fact movable parts as well. So pop, puppet and doll. Puppet and doll more easy with movable parts. Pop more like yeah, it's like a popping out parts. In fact, the puppet was I used I used the foundation of puppet with a U, but in fact it is not really a U. I pronounce it like a. So in fact the is always a more materialistic region, so I will translate it into this region. The pup, you can see a pup exists as well, so you have the puppet, of course, but you also have the puppy. The E of the Y is always at the right and left region and increasing and going towards other directions. So that's how I can express it. So again, what do you have? Pop, puppy, doll, puppet. And if I increase the movements, I will have it like this: pop, puppy, doll, puppet. So the regions where with the movable parts, with the P, which especially is it's not always movable parts, it's parts that separate itself. They will be a little bit different and going to different directions. But you can recognize there's something else going on in pop, something else going on in puppy, something else going on in doll, and something else going on in puppet. And the emphasis also says something about these words. I hope you're a little bit more curious and how to learn this yourself. I will give more instructions soon, or of course you can read the book. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.